When we think of empires, images of Roman legions or British viceroys often come to mind. These were empires of direct rule, where one nation's flag flew over another's land. However, in the modern world, power operates in more subtle ways. The United States has built a different kind of global influence, one best described by the old term suzerainty. This isn't colonialism, where a country is completely taken over. Instead, it is a system where a powerful state, the suzerain, guides the major foreign policy and security decisions of other, formally independent nations. These nations remain sovereign on paper, managing their own internal affairs, but their most critical choices on the world stage are heavily shaped by the dominant power. This form of influence is not achieved through conquest, but through a complex web of alliances, economic dependencies, and political pressures. The United States does not need to send governors to Berlin or Tokyo. Its power is embedded in the very structures that define global relations. Countries within this sphere of influence understand that their security and prosperity are often linked to staying in alignment with Washington's strategic goals. This creates a dynamic where their leaders might make decisions that serve American interests, sometimes even when it conflicts with their own domestic public opinion or immediate economic benefit. It is an empire of persuasion and pressure, not of direct command. Consider the intricate network of military bases the United States maintains across the globe, the dominance of the US dollar in international trade, and the weight of its diplomatic voice in institutions like the United Nations. These are the pillars of American suzerainty. They create a global environment where aligning with the United States offers significant advantages: access to advanced military technology, favorable trade conditions, and a seat at the table of global decision-making. Conversely, defying the United States can lead to sanctions, diplomatic isolation, or a loss of security guarantees. This framework ensures that even without direct rule, American influence remains a powerful and shaping force across continents. This system has defined the international order for decades, creating a period of relative stability known as the Pax Americana, or American peace. While it has been criticized for limiting the autonomy of other nations, its proponents argue that it has prevented major global conflicts and fostered economic growth. Understanding this concept of suzerainty is essential to grasping the realities of modern geopolitics. It explains why nations that are powerful in their own right often appear to follow America's lead. It is a quiet, structural power that is felt in the corridors of government from Europe to the Middle East and beyond, shaping our world in ways both seen and unseen. In Europe, the primary instrument of American suzerainty is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Formed after World War II, this military alliance binds the United States to the defense of its European members. While it is a partnership, the United States is undoubtedly its most powerful member, providing the ultimate security guarantee. This relationship heavily influences the foreign policy of European nations. A clear example was the United Kingdom's decision to join the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. Despite widespread domestic protests and skepticism about the war's justification, the British government chose to stand with its most important ally, demonstrating the powerful pull of the transatlantic security relationship over national sentiment. This dynamic is also visible in Germany's actions toward Russia. For years, Germany pursued close economic ties with Moscow, particularly through its reliance on Russian natural gas. However, following Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Germany aligned itself with the US-led strategy of sanctions and pressure. It suspended the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, a major economic project, and dramatically increased its defense spending. These moves, while driven by genuine security concerns, were also a clear affirmation of its commitment to the NATO alliance and its alignment with Washington's position, even at a significant economic cost to itself. Across the world in Asia, a similar pattern exists with Japan. After its defeat in World War II, Japan adopted a pacifist constitution and entrusted its security to the United States. The US-Japan Security Treaty allows America to station over 50,000 troops in the country, effectively making the United States Japan's protector. This arrangement has deeply shaped Japan's foreign and defense policies for over 70 years. When Washington identifies a strategic threat, Tokyo often follows suit. For instance, in 2019, Japan moved to restrict the use of Huawei's 5G technology, echoing US concerns about Chinese espionage despite the potential economic advantages of partnering with the Chinese tech giant. This influence extends to broader regional strategy. The United States has been promoting the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or Quad, an informal alliance with Japan, Australia, and India, aimed at balancing China's growing power in the Indo-Pacific. Japan's active participation in this grouping is a direct reflection of its alignment with American strategic priorities. Through these security dependencies, whether it is NATO in Europe or bilateral treaties in Asia, the United States secures the cooperation of key allies. These countries, in exchange for security, cede a degree of their autonomy, making choices that reinforce America's position as the global suzerain. In the Middle East, American suzerainty operates through a potent combination of military aid, troop presence, and diplomatic brokerage. Countries like Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia are deeply tied to the United States. Egypt receives $1.3 billion in annual U.S. military aid, a legacy of the 1978 Camp David Accords that ensures its adherence to the peace treaty with Israel and its broader cooperation with American regional goals. Similarly, Jordan receives substantial aid and hosts American forces, securing its role as a stable, pro-Western partner in a volatile region. Meanwhile, Qatar hosts the massive Al Udeid Air Base, the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command, making it a critical logistical hub for American military operations. This network of dependencies ensures that the major strategic decisions made in these capitals are almost always aligned with Washington's interests. For example, Saudi Arabia's long-standing agreement to price its oil in U.S. dollars, known as the petrodollar system, has been a cornerstone of American economic power for decades. In exchange for U.S. military protection, the kingdom helps stabilize the global energy market and invests heavily in the U.S. economy. While these nations pursue their own interests, they do so within a framework largely defined and guaranteed by the United States, making them key components of America's regional architecture of influence. However, within this system, a fascinating exception exists: the relationship between the United States and Israel. In many ways, this dynamic appears to reverse the typical suzerain relationship. Israel, a much smaller nation, seems to exert a remarkable degree of influence over the policies of its superpower patron. This is achieved through several channels, including highly effective political lobbying, deep intelligence cooperation, and a shared strategic worldview among policymakers in both countries. Groups like the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, have proven exceptionally successful in advocating for U.S. support for Israel. This influence is most visible in the scale and consistency of American aid. By 2022, Israel had received over $150 billion in bilateral assistance from the United States, and it continues to receive $3.8 billion annually in military aid. In moments of crisis, this support can be scaled up dramatically, such as the emergency funding for the Iron Dome missile defense system. In early 2025, the U.S. government proceeded with the transfer of powerful 2,000-pound bombs to Israel, a decision made despite international outcry and concerns from other regional allies like Egypt and Jordan. This move highlighted how, in certain critical moments, Israeli security priorities can heavily influence, and sometimes even dictate, American actions on the world stage. The current global order, defined by American suzerainty and complex power dynamics, is not static. It is constantly evolving, and new forces are emerging that could reshape international relations entirely. One of the most powerful of these forces is technology, particularly the rise of artificial intelligence. While AI is often discussed in the context of economic competition or autonomous weapons, its greatest potential may lie in transforming how nations cooperate and make decisions. It could help create a more balanced and equitable system, moving the world away from a model dominated by a single power and toward one of genuine multilateralism. Imagine a future where complex global challenges like climate change, pandemics, and economic instability are managed not just through tense political negotiations, but with the help of sophisticated AI systems. These tools could analyze vast amounts of data from around the world to identify optimal solutions that benefit everyone, rather than just the most powerful nations. AI could model the economic and social impacts of different policies, helping countries find common ground and build trust. By providing objective, data-driven insights, It could reduce the role of pure power politics and allow smaller nations to contribute to global solutions on a more equal footing. For example, in international trade negotiations, AI could help craft agreements that are truly fair, balancing the economic needs of developing nations with the interests of established powers. In climate diplomacy, it could calculate each country's most effective contribution to reducing emissions, making the process more transparent and less contentious. This technology wouldn't replace human diplomats, but it would empower them with tools to overcome traditional biases and rivalries. It could act as a neutral facilitator, helping humanity solve collective problems that no single nation, no matter how powerful, can solve alone. This vision is not a utopian fantasy. It is a plausible future we can work toward. Building such systems would require international collaboration and a commitment to transparency and fairness. If we succeed, we could usher in a new era of global governance, where influence is based not on military might or economic size, but on the merit of ideas and the shared pursuit of a better future. The age of suzerainty, with its inherent inequalities, could give way to a more networked and collaborative world. Technology cannot solve all our problems, but it offers a powerful pathway to a global system where every nation has a voice and a meaningful role to play.